Welcome to Saturday's Warrior, the channel where we talk all things BYU, Big 12, and conference realignment. But today we are shifting away from that a little to talk about the NBA, and more specifically, the NBA draft. As you already know if you're watching this video, one of the major storylines from the draft was that Bronny James went number 55 to the LA Lakers. Shocker. The only things that are now trending higher on Twitter seem to be the anger about the presidential debate and the Hawk Tuah girl. So before diving into this, we ask please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, share with a buddy, but also let me know in the comments your reaction to Bronny getting drafted. Now, Bronny to the Lakers really shouldn't surprise anyone. They've been talking about this father-son duo teaming up in the NBA since what seems like before the kid could even walk. But now that it has come to fruition, people are upset, and I get it. The kid had a pedestrian college career, playing only 1 year and posting pretty meager stats. He's undersized, and he doesn't do any one thing really well to set himself apart. To compare, and now I will talk about BYU, Jackson Robinson, the Big 12 sixth man of the year, also tested the draft waters. Now, he is a taller player, more experienced, put up better stats, a much better shooter, and probably better than Bronny in most metrics that they would use to evaluate these players. And he found that it would be more beneficial for him to go back to college for 1 year to continue to try and improve his draft stock. Now, to be fair, NIL money most certainly was a big part of his reasoning for making that decision, and we know that Bronny isn't lacking in that department, so we have to take that into account. But nonetheless, Bronny entered the draft anyway and has now found himself in his ideal situation. And by all accounts, he essentially Eli Manning'd his way to the Lakers as a fringe second-round draft pick. All of this making it feel very undeserved. And that is the word of the video. It is in the title and on the thumbnail, undeserved. And I think that what has a lot of people's feathers ruffled. And I get it. I don't think anyone is naive enough to think this sort of thing doesn't happen all the time. But this was just such a blatant display of LeBron throwing his weight around to get what he wants. But I also think the hate for Bronny that he's getting is also undeserved. For everyone getting their panties in a bunch, I say, who cares? They'll give him his moment with his dad on the court so they can make history together and give ESPN something to gush about while they wait for the next WNBA season to begin. And then he'll spend most likely most of his time in the G League. Maybe he develops into an NBA player, probably not. But who cares? To be clear, I am no LeBron apologist. You should see my Instagram DMs, and yes, that's right, I watch Reels, not TikTok, and they are full of videos dissing LeBron, and honestly, I think it's mostly because of LeBron that this is getting so much backlash in the first place. But leave the kid alone. Besides, we aren't the ones who should be upset. It's the fringe draft players that have a better shot at making a career in the NBA that didn't get drafted that should be upset. It's the other Lakers players who would like to see their team take winning seriously after squandering another year of LeBron and Anthony Davis that should be upset. And I guess if you're a Laker fan, you can be upset too. But what's the alternative? Bronny, sure, he could have stayed 1 more year in college to try and improve his draft stock. And the Lakers do have, if what I looked at is still accurate, still up to date, 2 draft picks in next year's draft, one of which they could have reserved to use on Bronny. But this was considered a relatively weak draft compared to next year's, and the reality is late second-round picks usually don't stick anyway. So the risk for the Lakers to use a pick on Bronny was pretty low. Plus, LeBron's career is winding down, so why delay the inevitable? What irks me most out of all this is the love fest that ESPN is having with it. Now, I didn't watch any of the draft, especially not the second round, but from what I hear, it was the Bronny James show. And all the talking heads were just gushing over Bronny and defending the pick by the Lakers to bring him on and already building up this father and son storyline the best they could. And minutes after he was drafted, they had all their graphics queued up for social media. Gee, I wonder how they had those ready in time, including one where Bronny in his USC uniform morphs into a Lakers jersey. Now, I'm no graphic designer, but I'm pretty sure they didn't do that in the minutes after he was drafted and when they posted that. So you know that ESPN and the media will continue to squeeze every ounce they can out of the story. And we're the problem. I mean, I've clicked on more than one story about Bronny. Heck, I did this video and you're here watching it now. I guess my point of all this is, yes, it's irritating, it's a bit cringy, and it certainly deserves an eye roll or a scoff, but it doesn't matter whether Bronny deserves it or not because the Lakers knew what they were doing. They used an asset that had a low probability of panning out to make an all-time player, and yes, love him or hate him, LeBron is an all-time player, to make him happy by allowing him to make history by playing next to his son. It may prove to be a distraction for the team, but that was a risk they knowingly and willingly took. Now, I'm already sick of this storyline. I'd rather be talking about Kevin Young and all the future draft picks coming through BYU. So let's get it all out of our system. Feel free to vent and share your thoughts in the comments, and then we can move on so that we can get back to bashing presidential candidates and sharing inappropriate memes. Thanks so much for watching.